Okay, so we've covered the eye, the ear. Let's cover the other senses that we have. Touch is one of those senses, and it is essential to development. If we are not touched from a very early age, our brains will be hardwired differently. We'll talk more about that in the next unit. Sense of touch, you've got pressure, warmth, cold, and pain. And we've got these specialized nerve endings. There are spots that are more sensitive to things like warmth or cold or pain. If you think about people who've gotten tattoos in very sensitive areas, that's because those nerve endings are different there. Pain is a unique sense. It's got biopsychosocial influences. The phantom limb theory, when someone has a limb amputated or born without one, oftentimes they have this phantom limb where they can feel their leg itching even though their leg isn't present. This deals with nerve endings and nerve cells. The gate control theory of pain says that basically our spinal cord contains a gate, not literally a gate that opens and closes, but it contains a gate that either blocks or allows pain to go through. And on the spinal cord, if small fibers are stimulated, we are going to experience pain. Whereas if large fibers are stimulated, we are going to not experience pain. Some pain control techniques, if you've ever been in pain, we all have. There's distraction. If you think about taking a child to a doctor and they're getting a shot, you distract them. Oh, look at this painting on the wall. Bam, shot's over. They didn't even notice it. If you've ever stubbed your toe or hit your elbow on something, you probably tried the pain control technique of rubbing it to make it feel better. And of course, there's breathing, especially for hyperventilation and things like that. Just calm down and breathe. All of those are pain control techniques. Make sure you know the gate control theory. It is extremely important. Taste is another sense. We have 4 basic tastes: sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. And taste is a chemical sense. You've got taste buds on your tongue that catch food chemicals and allow us to experience these chemical senses as being pleasurable or not pleasurable. We are emotionally hardwired to prefer some taste over the other. For example, you've probably craved fattening things at some point in time. Our ancestors had to have a diet that was very high in fat in order to survive and to live. There's a recent discovery of a 5th taste called umami. This is a Japanese word that basically translates to savory or meaty. This chemical sensation is fuller, and you can experience it when you eat certain things like meats and cheeses or heavy protein foods. Smell is a chemical sense just like taste, and the odorants that enter the nasal cavity stimulate up to 5 million receptor sites, which allow you to smell things. And unlike taste, there are many different forms of a smell. Smell, basically, molecules are reaching that nasal cavity and they're stimulating the olfactory bulb and the olfactory nerve, which allow us to smell. Smell is a unique sense because it peaks with adulthood, and women often have a better sense of smell than men. And what's really cool about smell too is if you smell something horrible or awful, this olfactory nerve is going to send that message to your brain, and it's actually going to stimulate the amygdala. It might make you angry. Ugh, what is that smell? It could also stimulate the hippocampus, and if it stimulates the hippocampus, you're probably remembering that smell. That smell somehow has been stored in your hippocampus, and you're remembering it as being a pleasant smell or an unpleasant smell. Sensory interaction is when our senses interact with one another. So if you've ever wondered why green ketchup is no more, they don't sell it in the stores, or green Twinkies aren't sold anymore, it's because even though those things taste the exact same as red ketchup or regular Twinkies, just the fact that our eyesight is interacting with our taste buds makes us not like it. And if you had to guess which of the 5 senses is the strongest, do you think it's taste, smell, touch, hearing, or sight? What would you say? You should say sight. Your eyes will win over every other sense. Your eyes are the strongest sensory organ that we have. This is why texting in class, when you're texting in class, it's not working for you. You're not hearing what the teacher says. You're not paying attention because your eyesight will always win when your senses are interacting with one another. We've also got body position and movement. The sense of our body parts, position, and movement is called kinesthesis. The vestibular sense monitors our head and body's position in space. And when we're talking about position and motion sensors, we're talking about muscles and tendons and joints that are all influenced in this. The vestibular sense monitors our head, specifically the equilibrium in our ear. If you've ever had a really bad ear infection and your equilibrium has been off, you might not have been able to walk in a straight line. So this wire walker's equilibrium has to be completely intact. When your equilibrium is not intact, basically what happens is that fluid-filled cochlea in your ear, the fluid is not at the correct level. Therefore, you could feel very, very dizzy. And there's this cool thing called synesthesia. This is a neurological stimulation of one sense that leads to another. There has been a lot of research on synesthesia. It's pretty cool. And I'm going to now offer you an extra credit opportunity to listen to a short story of Pharrell. Pharrell has synesthesia, and I want you to hear about his experiences with this.
Justin Timberlake, the former member of NSYNC, was trying to move beyond his boy band past.
He's a pop star, which was interesting because we got to use all of that like horsepower. But at the same time, he was an ambitious one and wanted to do things differently. And that's kind of like the way you do it. Got time, but I don't mind. Just wanna rock you, girl. I'll have whatever you have. When someone is gigantic, that's a responsibility because you have enough people listening, then you're supposed to be ushering in change. If you're not ushering in change, then you're just literally riding a wave, and all waves have a beginning, they have a peak, and then, the sun sets.
As you can hear, Pharrell Williams talks about his creative process in visual terms a lot. The cresting wave, the sunset, the Mona Lisa. It's not a coincidence. He has a neurological condition that's called synesthesia.
The visual nerve ending and the auditorial nerve ending are connected, so they send ghost images to each other.
What are you experiencing that I might not be?
So when you're hearing music, you see it in color.
You're seeing colors when you're hearing sounds and hearing music.
Yeah.
I want to know how it helps your mind work in a way that we might sort of feel with the music that you create.
Well, it's the only way that I can identify what something sounds like. I know when something is in key because it either matches the same color or it doesn't, or it feels different and it doesn't feel right. Everybody get up.
This summer, Pharrell Williams...
So for extra credit, email me by midnight tonight about Pharrell's experience with this neurological sensation hardwiring in his brain.